kidding me right now?
She's trying to do her 10 seconds.
Yep. We'll do our 10. I'll play you in.
Yeah. Yo, this is how it's supposed to go. I duck them if they clingy and emotional. If they pretty or cute but ain't sociable. Or if their hair ain't growing how it's supposed to grow.
Wow, I don't know what that was at the beginning.
Oh.
Shout out to Gerard from the 7-footers. We will not get copyrighted issues for that one. That was fire.
Was it?
Wasn't it, though? Welcome to Beyond the Journal. You're welcome for the hotness.
What was it? Well, let us all know what it was.
Oh, you guys are inquiring as to what you were listening to?
You
were listening to the sounds of my former rapper self. I think I still got it.
Well, when did you record that?
That song, wow. I think that song was recorded in, if this is 2020, that song was recorded in 2013.
So how do we know you still got it? If it was recorded in 2013.
I think you know.
Do we though?
I think you
I
know.
don't know. Okay, moving on.
Let's start
Anyway.
the show. Hi, everybody. I'm
Hi.
Lawrence. And
Don't say it. Don't say it. You don't need to say it. You want to know why? Because I brought you a gift.
you brought me a gift?
I brought you a gift. Look at this. What does it say?
It says, say hi, Erin.
Yeah. So
I love it.
now you don't have to say it ever again. You can just wear the shirt.
So if I wear the shirt, they'll hear me? Okay. Anyway, how are you, Erin?
I was better before I got here. Because this is just, I feel a headache coming on. I don't know.
Do you?
Anyway, I kind of do. Yeah, and I think it has a name.
Well, wow.
Anyway, I'm good. How are you,
Wow.
Lawrence?
I'm a lot of things. I think that's
Yeah.
one of your lines, right? I'm a lot of things
That
right
is
now.
definitely one of my lines.
Those of you who don't know, I'm a teacher. So going back to school has given me more apprehension than ever before, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I feel like the fate of the schools, the children, the teachers, the administrators, I feel like the fate is in politics, is in the hands of politics right now. And it makes me very uneasy. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm super unsettled about school. I just don't think we have enough information. I just don't see a clear plan in place that makes me sleep better at night or feel comfortable. And I don't think, in defense of the DOE, I don't know that there can be a perfect plan because there are so many variables that we just don't know, right? So I get that their job is kind of impossible right now. So, excuse me, I understand that, but that does not sit well with me.
Yeah.
You know, making my children become guinea pigs to go to school for
Right.
what? And it's not even, they're not in school full time. And one of the things that I brought up to you that I think is really important to point out is that they're not going back to school the way we all fondly think of school.
Why do you say that?
We're going back to masks, social distance desks. We're going back to teachers not being able to come and sit with you or stand over you to explain something. We're talking about kids who are not allowed to leave those desks all day. They're not switching classrooms. There's no gym class. There's no cafeteria. They're eating lunch at their desk, and that is the only time they're able to remove the masks. The teachers are the ones that are, moving in between classrooms. And I don't think the kids really, they've gone through so much. I think they still think that, we're going back to school.
Yeah.
They don't understand all of the difficulties and the challenges that they're going to face. And I think that's something we have to consider because they've had so much emotional trauma already.
Oh, yeah.
My boys have regressed so much in the last 7-8 months, and it's incredibly challenging. I'm very concerned about them, and I think the education gap is going to get even worse, even bigger. So there's just so many things.
Why do you think the education gap is going to get bigger?
Well, for one, I mean, I read an article in the Times that rich white parents hire tutors. They're creating pods.
Talk about it.
And they are hiring teachers. They will not, and they have access to technology, and they also either have parents that can stay home, or can work from home, but also have a nanny or tutors or the teacher or whatever. That's a huge gap.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of points that I didn't really account for. I did account for the disparity between the wealthy and the less fortunate in terms of how that's going to widen the gap. I accounted for that. I always think about how every class of people, and I hate to say class, but unfortunately we are in a class system in America. Every class of people is going to respond to every issue we deal with because we all deal with it differently. The one thing you did point out, though, that really, it was eye-opening because I've been another person to say, these kids, their social skills are going to really regress. They're going to regress in terms of their social skills, and they're also going to regress in terms of their wherewithal, their patience, their stamina, and their ability to just work and stay focused and keep their eyes not only on the work ahead, but the goals ahead, right? Because now you're at home with all your comforts, and most of our comforts have instant gratification in them. So now that point and click that your kid is used to on the web, what is your kid going to do when your kid's got to figure out how to manipulate algorithms? Or your kid has to remember the difference between civil rights and the Civil War, and they can't just put it down on paper. They got to struggle through it. How are they going to be able to do that if all they're ever used to is that quick? And then they're not going back to that social atmosphere. Yeah. And even as a teacher, I've made that mistake of thinking, I wish, and I said this, I'm not really looking forward to teaching virtually because that's not how I connect. I connect with people in person. Yeah. And it's not like if we go back, I can't stand over a kid. I can't kneel down next to a kid who's working and say, hey, this, that, and the third. There has to be a glass between us. There's got to be 6 feet. I can't give high fives in the hallway. I can't give the hugs to the kids who are going through stuff. I can't make house visits. I can't do 90% of the things that I'm great at doing because I just connect with the kids and their families, right?
Yeah.
And so now why am I pushing so much to go back, which I'm not.
No, I know.
I'm not. I honestly feel like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
We're just not ready.
And we don't have the leadership we need. We need people who are going to give us information, people who have information to share, and people who care about the people, not just themselves and their own advancements.
Right. Well, communication is a huge topic, but I also think that the kids, I noticed that my kids are lacking in their communication skills. They are struggling to put words to emotions and feelings. I've noticed a big gap and regression in that sense. And also self-confidence is huge because also when you can't communicate properly, you become your self-esteem and self-conscious.
Yep.
And then also I noticed I took Dylan to training, and before we even got there, he was talking about quitting and he can't do it and he can't. And throughout the entire training, he was like, I can't do this. And Dylan has, Dylan, you've seen him practice. He never says I can't. He always keeps his mouth shut and keeps going. He was like, I can't. I just can't. And I was like, wow. So the last 4 training sessions we've had, I am out of my chair the entire time in his face with permission. I'm not doing this on my own. And I am in his face pushing him because I have to build him. I feel like I'm like working with this like lump that I have to rebuild, and he's a wreck.
And I think and I know we have to move on because you and I could talk about not only our own kids but just kids in general forever. Right. I think the video games are a big part of what I mentioned in terms of that instant gratification. And a lot of people really underestimate the culture that's within the online that's within the online culture of some of these specific video games. Like NBA 2K has its own culture of player style, right? Whereas Fortnite has its own culture of player, and then it leaves the game and it becomes a part of who they are.
It's
and
awful.
It's killing our kids to have them home this long. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and on technology. And like on a side note, I hate Fortnite, and I hope that you heard all the news about what's going on with Fortnite, right?
I don't. My sons have not been allowed to play Fortnite since like January.
Okay, well they did something crazy, and Apple pulled them and Google pulled them out of their stores, and they're suing them, and so this could shut down their entire operation. And let me tell you, every finger's crossed. I am praying to whatever video game gods there are that game goes away. I hate it.
Apex is next. It's going to be next up. Sorry.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Roblox, all of that. Anyway, anyway, let's talk some positivity.
Okay.
How about that? The playoffs are back.
I love it. I don't even like. I mean, it's not. I'm not going to say I don't like it, but I'm a college basketball
you prefer
fan.
College, yeah.
I prefer college. I never even really watched that much NBA. Now, of course, it's the only thing I can watch. And I'm not even going to lie to you. Last night, watching that Portland Lakers game, I was on fire. I was so excited in that fourth quarter. I was so excited, and I was impressed. It's weird to me, NBA. There's so much sloppiness too, though.
Well, there's so much freedom, right? Because
it's just like, I'm like, oh, come on, man.
I have this much space to be who I am. Some players have more space, some players have less, but there's a lot more freedom for certain players. So I watch it sometimes, and I'm just like, that's really lazy basketball. Like, I really prefer NBA sloppy playoff basketball
like
to
all
anything.
The threes, they just chuck them up there. I'm like, really? We couldn't have thought of anything else to run? We're just going to just pull up and take the three. All right. And then you don't box out. You don't get the rebound.
What do you say about players being longer and taller? Does that now mean that the game has to extend outside more? We have 7-footers playing the 3 position, right?
Right.
So
that was interesting too last night watching that because AD is huge and he is mobile and he can shoot and it's crazy. So it does obviously change the game.
Even our heavier guys who are tall, they're still mobile. Jokic is something else, and he's so young, right?
Yeah.
And so you have these players who spread the offense, spread the defense. They're just something other. Like, how do you defend against someone like a James Harden who's going to cover from the half-court line to the hoop in terms of penetrating, dishing, kicking, whatever he's tough to guard, right? And then when he's kicking all the way out to the 3, you really expose the defense after you – I don't want to say what Jason Terry said. That was the pausest moment in NBA history. After you bring the defense in, then you kick the ball out. Like, it's just – I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I feel like it's almost inevitable because of how skillful guys are. We have to double and triple team guys going to the basket, and we give up the only thing that's open because you're not going to settle for a mid-range jumper if a guy's penetrating to the lane because they can get right back to you. So you settle out farther. So I get what you're saying, and I hate it.
I know.
I hate it because I feel like, bruh, some of these shots they settle for.
Yeah.
And or they act like that's the only thing they can do.
But it is impressive. Like, even like Embiid can take that step back 3. Like
I heard you. I heard you in my head. I heard you.
When he hit that 3, I was like, oh, come on now. So, that was exciting. But I'm not even going to lie. I am 100% rooting for Portland. I am on Dame time. I subscribe. I'm all in. I want to see the Lakers lose. I'm not going to lie. I will give mad credit to Bron, though. Some of his passes are sick.
Yeah.
Sick. I was like cheering. When do you cheer about a pass? Like, I was cheering for some of his passes. I was freaking out. I was like, how did he even make that happen? I don't even understand how that got through there to get to him.
Else,
and then, not even, he's so smooth about it. Like, if you don't know him and you don't play with him, like, how do you even know that pass is coming to you?
You have to be ready.
You have to be ready.
Oh, I'm sure LeBron's in their ear.
He
like,
lets them
you
know.
better be ready when that ball comes, Green. You better be ready.
He lets them know. That's right.
Sorry, that was my LeBron impression. That was pretty good.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You liked it?
I don't know.
You felt like you were in the studio with Bron just now. You turned your head and you said, "Is that Bron?"
No. Let's settle down.
Okay.
Let's settle down.
I have the Lakers. I have the Lakers in round 1. I have the Lakers.
I'm going with Portland.
I hear you. I love Dame, and his
determination is
he's
insane.
My second favorite point guard, and that's tough because I haven't talked about any other point guard besides Russ.
I know.
So for me to put him up there with Russ is huge for me because I just love Russ's fight. I love Dame's professionalism. The way he not only handles adversity, but the way he handles his teammates is everything.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing, and he's such a leader, and it's amazing to watch. And even your favorite player, Melo, even the way that he interacts, and of course you have L.A. over Portland. Come on, Melo plays for Portland.
No.
But
that's not why.
Anyway, so
sorry.
I am. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen, and it's a long series, so whatever. But I am all in with Dame. I'm going for it. I'm with him.
I got LeBron. And I got some of the other regulars. I got Houston. I got Milwaukee. The 2 series that, and I've of course got Toronto over Brooklyn. I'm not even sure how they're there. And
Listen, but I will tell you this about the Brooklyn team. I will say this. Listen, Katie's hurt. Kyrie, whatever. I don't even understand that. So that's maybe a whole nother show. So we could talk about that later. But
that was shady towards Kyrie. I want you to understand that. He's listening right now. What's up, Kyrie? I'm sorry.
No, I'm not that sorry. I'm really not that, I'm sorry. I'm really not that sorry about this. Sorry, not sorry. I don't understand. But anyway, the fact of the matter is they basically, out of magic air, they created this team to take to the bubble, right?
Yeah.
And I have to say, I am crazy impressed with LeVert, and I'm crazy impressed with how they've played as a team. It felt much more college to me than it did NBA, because I felt like they really had to come together. And you're not talking about big superstars, but they've really put. I like to watch them play, but LeVert, I loved watching LeVert play.
Tell me what you think about this idea. This I don't want to say idea, but this it's an idea. The whole college style of play where everybody contributes and everybody has their roles and there's no superstar basketball. What do you say to someone who says your role players are not going to play consistently enough for that to last in the NBA, and you need a guy who, when the role players fall short, can drop 40, can drop 50? But in order for that person to drop 40, drop 50, that person has to be comfortable shooting a high volume of shots on a regular basis, which means your guys like LeVert may not get the chance to shine ever. What do you say about that? Do you think that's just collateral damage, it is what it is, or do you hate it?
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think it's how the game has evolved and where we kind of are right now with that, but I also kind of hate it. Yeah. Because I really believe in the team. Like, it's a team sport, and I love to see when they come together. But I will say, watching Portland, like, Dame is the star, right? Yep. The superstar. You have CJ, who's the supporting cast.
Talking about crafty? I like him.
Right. And then you have Melo, who's kind of like, he
cool.
pulls. Is he?
He's cool.
Is he though? But he has some clutch shots, some clutch threes he had last night. So they're kind of working as a team, but the cool thing is when Dame turns it on, when he feels it and he knows he has to step up, like, he can just flip this crazy switch and he just turns it on. But I don't feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't ever feel like he's alienating. No. Like, I feel like he's very humble and like it's about the team for him.
Always.
Much more than some other guys.
And I really like that about him, because, and this is why I call him such a professional.
Yeah.
Just the way he handles things on the court. He is there for the organization. He is there to represent. He is not only an ambassador, he's a leader. He's a professional ball player. I genuinely like the young man.
And I loved it because after the Brooklyn game, he actually said Caris LeVert is cold. He gave him props in his post-game interview.
Okay, so let's talk about that really quick. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Rest of the playoff prediction. I do not know who's going to win in Philly and Boston. I really think that is just a tough matchup to call always for me.
I know, but I love Philly and I love
Boston,
Embiid, but I feel like Boston's gonna do it.
Really, when Kemba's on, he really the other guys really get to thrive when Kemba's running down the court, speeding through, because he'll sneak a couple of buckets in here and there, and that allows the other guys to take a breather and get back on defense because he's doing the Russell Westbrook thing. I'm going to beat everybody down the court, including my own teammates. And when I see Kemba do that, I'm like, okay, they're about to start cooking.
Very much unlike Joel Embiid.
Oh my God, slow it down.
Walks down the court.
Slow it down.
Yeah. So listen, and Embiid's my boy. I love Embiid. So I'm not. I'm not feeling the Sixers. I'm not feeling the coach. I'm not feeling Simmons. I'm not feeling the chemistry right now.
I think you should tell the truth. The reason you don't think the Sixers are going to win is because they don't have J.J. Redick. And I agree.
I do like J.J.
No, I love J.J.
I do like J.J.
A beast. It's a sad thing that he's not in the playoffs.
Yeah, that sucks. So
shout out to J.J. Redick.
But I definitely, and I hate to say it, but I just feel like Boston might have a slight advantage. I really hope that's not the case, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I think so as well.
I got to be realistic.
And the last question I have before we move on. Utah and the Nuggets, two fiery teams, two fiery sets of point guards as well.
Donovan.
You love Donovan.
I love him.
His spirit, his game, he's something else.
I love him. His energy is crazy. His ups are crazy.
I think Jokic is too much for Gobert.
Yeah.
Jokic is a really tough guard.
Yeah.
He's going to give you everything from everywhere on the court.
I also feel like Donovan, He doesn't. I mean, he's kind of a one-man show out there. I feel like
well, they've been working the pick and roll, which has been which is shout out to Utah for holding up the legacy. But that pick and roll really works very well with him as he attacks the middle. I just think they don't have enough defense to stop Denver's fiery offense.
I mean, on the other day, what did he have? 50-some points?
Yeah,
and they lost.
So this,
like how? Like this is what I'm saying. He doesn't have a supporting cast. I just don't feel like everybody is playing together, and then Donovan has to step up and take over, and he clearly is capable and able to do that. But it's not enough. Like, how do you score that many points and still not win? I don't know.
We've seen it. We've seen it many times, right, Allen Iverson?
Right.
Jordan?
Well, yes. Right, of course. But
in that same vein now, he drops 50-something.
Yeah.
And then his opponent is walking around on Instagram.
It's so cute.
And
I love it.
Walks right into Mitchell and is like, yo, ain't that the dude that just dropped 50 on me? And I have slowly but surely become one of the number one fans of the NBA bubble.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
For many reasons.
Because I used to play basketball at basketball camps. Shout out to 5 Star, shout out to the Sixers camp, all the camps I went to when I was younger, and shout out to all the guys that we used to battle. And we know when you're in camp, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter who your home team is, because we used to leave camp after battling, and then people would get blown out, even though they had just finished. But camp is different because you are there and you are stripped of all your comforts. You're stripped of your hometown, and you got to go out there and you got to compete. And not only are you competing, it's so much like camp that there are no fans. I love this atmosphere.
Yeah, it's cool.
I thought I would hate the fact that the fans weren't there. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I love this idea for competitive reasons and also communication reasons, which we'll get into.
I would love to see how this plays out moving forward, because I think in some ways it's been challenging for the guys. Like, I know they miss their families and their children and things like that, and so many sweet FaceTime photos of reading books and playing animals and whatever with their little ones at home, which I loved and adored. But it's also really funny to watch them trolling each other on their Insta stories. Like, this guy, he's following me, he's stalking me everywhere I go. I go to the pool, he's here. I go to eat, he's here. I go everywhere. I can't get away. And they're messing with each other. It's cute. I love the interactions.
Yeah.
But on a more serious note, they're also interacting in a much more impactful, profound way.
Yes.
In regards to serious issues that we're facing in the world. And I think that's a really amazing thing too, because everyone's looking to these guys, especially now, because there's nothing on TV. Like, there's nothing to watch. And if you're a sports fan, even if you're not that much of a sport, like, look, I'm not even, I just love basketball, but I'm not a huge NBA fan. I'm like, this is it for me right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, first of all, I think if the NBA gave me a call and asked what they should do about the bubble, I would definitely charge them first. And then I would say, after I got the monies, I would say, you should only use the bubble for the playoffs every year. You're welcome. I'll send you the bill.
Okay,
so I do want to talk about the communication. Excuse me, I had to talk to the NBA. Whoa.
Sorry. I was going to just bring us right back on track.
I'm there.
I know. Yeah. Are you, though? Because it's really always about you.
We read an article, from USA Today, where Chris Paul was just speaking about what you just spoke about, how cool it was that the players could be in the same area and communicate and get in each other's ear about the social issues that have been plaguing America. And I really didn't take that into full account. But it does beg a different question, which we can ask at another time or even later in the show. But I do think that goes to the communication piece, right?
Yes.
Because we're not all home or busy in our lives trying to keep up with it. Now, the time we have off, we can spend with each other because we're not doing much else. And if we're going to spend time with each other, we might as well make each other great. We don't only have to compete, right? Just because we compete on the court doesn't mean we have to compete for lifestyles.
Right. But I also think the way the league is set up, if you're not close friends and you don't make an effort to like form a friendship and keep in touch, you don't really have the opportunity to spend time with these guys because you're playing so many games. You're traveling city to city. You have a family, you have kids, you have friends.
It's a business.
Right. So you don't have this opportunity. So now they can all go hang out by the pool after their games at night and chill. And then they get to have really great conversations and make new friends.
Right. Because typically.
And form bonds that they weren't able to form before, which I think is really cool. And especially now because we're talking about Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and Black Lives. And although this formed outside of the bubble, but Chris Paul and Melo and Bron and D-Wade formed this social activism group. Yes?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You were like looking at me weird. I'm like,
I wasn't looking at you. Sorry.
No, you were like looking at the thing weird. So I was like, am I saying something wrong?
No.
So, which is amazing because they're taking it one step further. But I think that's also a great example for the other players. And then they're all able to converse and share ideas. And who knows what could be born in this bubble?
I mean, well, I totally believe that. I think NBA players have been fighting for their spot amongst the owners for a couple decades now, 2 decades maybe. And I think being in this bubble together gives them the chance to work in concert a little better, whereas they've always been independent entities, not only agent-wise, but player-wise. They're not even, like Draymond Green got fined the other day for mentioning that Book shouldn't be on the Suns too much longer if he cares about his career, and that sounded like he was soliciting, so he got fined $50K. Now, to me, that says something, because what if an NBA an owner or someone up top did something similar or did something a little more personal? Because if you notice, when the players speak, they have to cover their mouths because they're not allowed to do it at all, ever. They're not allowed to do that. And if they get caught doing that, they get fined, possibly even suspended. So they cover their mouths when they talk about stuff. And a lot of people didn't know that's why, but that's one of the rules they're trying to circumvent, right? So now if the owners are allowed to talk to players, or the owners are allowed to schmooze a little more, the rules are a little looser, that then tells the story, because laws tell stories of who's in power and who's being catered to. Right. I'll say that again. The law tells the story of who's in power and who's being catered to. So who's being catered to and who's in power in that situation? The owners, right? Now the players are in a position where they can join together and either compete with the owners or be respected by the owners a little more.
Yeah.
My 2 cents, right?
No,
and then I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that's good. No, I think it's a good thing. And I think there's also maybe I would like to think there are less distractions in the bubble.
Oh no.
But, I mean,
I do want to apologize to the Suns for specifically to the Suns for what Draymond Green said. What do you think I was talking about?
Okay.
The Suns should be pretty good. They had a good season. They went 8-0, and I'm still wondering, how did they go 8-0 in the bubble? They must have had some serious motivation or some team relaxation tactics.
Relaxation tactics.
I got to get off the internet.
That's what we're going to call it.
I got to get off the
relaxation
internet.
tactics.
My sons listen to this show, so I'm going to leave it at that. Shout out to the Suns. Stay
so
safe.
Anyway,
Stay safe.
Yes.
Yes.
Stay
very safe.
Safe.
Please.
Yes. Well, they're gone now. So okay. So
but
anyway.
the Rockets are there, right? And James Harden.
Yeah, and Harden and CP3, that they're matching up, and that's going to be crazy because do you remember he slapped his hand and he was like, but Chris said they don't speak, but they don't have beef. Oh yeah? Okay.
It's just the way you slap the hand. Like,
he was like, no.
I don't think I've ever seen an adult slap another adult's hand that way.
I'm pretty sure I've done that to you.
Okay. I feel so much more sensitive even being a part of that.
Yeah, no, but that's going to be an interesting matchup. But anyway.
Did you hear what he said, though?
What?
What Harden said about communication
and
being in the bubble and stuff.
Right. Well, enlighten me.
I will.
Okay, please.
It says, are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been ready.
In USA Today, it says,
I'm not ready for that.
No, this is my debut. I might be doing voiceovers right after this. You never know. Someone could be listening. You're literally hating on me. You don't want to be known as a hater. Let this happen. Let it happen. In USA Today, it says, in an opportunity for us as a team to... Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. It's an opportunity for us as a team to communicate and talk more, especially on the defensive end. He goes on to say our communication helps us be in the right spots and helps us with our rebounding and transition defense. I think there are advantages to it. There's just not as many distractions, and you're focusing on what you're supposed to be doing. He speaks about the ability to communicate while on the court without the fans and just being in the bubble without the distractions. Communication is key.
I love it.
Communication is key.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's huge, and I think it's super important. And I think less distractions lead to better communication.
Less distractions lead to better communication. What if better communication could happen? I'm sorry, what if good teamwork or partnership could happen despite the fact that we have distractions because we have communication, right? You said we need less distractions. I'm saying we can have distractions and still be better communicators.
No,
but I think, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I totally agree with that. But I'm also saying if the distractions are removed purposely, like the bubble, the distractions, some distractions were removed. So that's helpful because you don't have so many things to focus on, right? But that's not real life. So there are always going to be distractions. And I think, unfortunately, this technology is a huge one and impacts communication horrifically in some ways. Like text messaging, arguments and things like that is never, tone is so important. Body language is important. Eye contact is important. I think that's how you build a rapport, you build trust. So I don't know. I definitely think it's great that we can remove some of the distractions. I think it's helpful, but we have to also learn how to communicate through the distractions because that's just real life. Communication
is definitely important. And I get why you say communication is important. Is important, excuse me. But you and I, we have these discussions about communication, and we've had a myriad of miscommunications because Erin just struggles with communication. So,
kind of like I struggled with communication today prior to the show.
I definitely said I was going to get my hair cut. I will be in the area early.
And you said I will let you know.
I will let you know. And then I called you. You did not pick up.
No. No, we're not. I'm not even.
I wish we had time to get into this, but we only have time to hear my story.
Yeah.
So,
typical. That's typical, and I'm used to it because I don't really matter much around here. So that's fine. So anyway, moving on. So yes, what dig were you taking at me next? Because I've already. I mean, I'm dodging them left and right over here. What else do you got?
I do want to know: is there such thing as too much communication?
I don't know. Is there, Lawrence?
Wow. I think there is. I think you can communicate past levels of understanding.
I agree.
Or not past, but you can almost regress in terms of understanding, right? And then you can create pockets of doubt where there once weren't because you're communicating so much so that now the communication becomes the thing rather than the foundation that you're building.
I agree to a certain extent. Okay. I think one depends on who you're communicating with and two, what the topic is. I do think you can get to a point where you just are running in circles and that's not helpful.
Yeah.
I also think you can get to a point where you can't agree and then you need to step away from it. Mm-hmm. Because I think if you just keep like pounding it, I mean, you're just like beating your head against the wall. No one's making any progress. And there's really, that defeats the entire point of the communication.
Okay. Right? So how about this situation though? And this is not even me being facetious or taking a dig, but it's serious. If someone says, I'll be somewhere, and I've seen this a lot.
Okay.
If someone says, I'll be somewhere, or I've accepted a meeting online on my Google Calendar, mm-hmm. and then someone confirms and says, hey, just want to check in to see if we're still meeting. What the hell, bro? I clicked accept.
We do this all the time.
But I don't understand that about people.
But I don't understand that about it either.
Then why did we agree if you need to check me on it?
Because so here's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Things change. Things happen during the day. And also it may no longer be a convenient time. But also if you tell me, like you said to me, I have a haircut and then I will let you know what time I'm available.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Well, we need to quote it exactly. I said I will be in the area early.
That's not what you said.
After my haircut, no. I will let you know.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what you said.
I said, well, I'm going to be in the area early anyway, so I'll let you know.
I'll let you know what?
That I'm in the area. I didn't say I'll let you know what time. I wouldn't have said that because I have no idea what time. I wouldn't have said that. So my thing is, I said I was in the area, right? And I don't even want to use this example, but I'm just saying, like, people will set up interviews and meetings and then the day of confirm, right? And to me, I'm slightly insulted because I'm a man.
No, you shouldn't be.
But I am, because you just said things change, things happen, right?
Yeah.
I will let you know if something changed or something happened. Did I call you? What you calling me for? Did something change on your end? Then why are we talking? Yes. I've already planned my day around this. Yes. You can trust me. I'm punctual. I'll be there.
There you go. You just said the magic word, trust. Do you know how many people don't handle their business like that? Do you know how many people I have sent calendar invites to and said, oh, you know what? Okay, fine. I'm not going to confirm because I see they accepted the calendar. And then I'm sitting on the phone waiting. And guess who doesn't show up? Do you know how many times that has happened to me?
I think
so. Then I made a personal choice to take responsibility for my time. So it's not an insult to you. It's a protection of me and my space and my time, because time is valuable. Time is money.
I respect that.
So if I'm going to put that on my schedule, it is a courtesy to not only you, but it's more about me. And maybe that sounds selfish, and maybe it is, and I can own that. That's okay. But it's a way to protect myself, because I've been burned so many times in that way. That why should I sit here and just trust? By the way, people also with technology, wires get crossed, people forget, you don't get the alert. Yeah. There's a million other things. So I'm also now depending not only on someone else to show up, I'm depending on technology to make sure it reminds them, or that they're looking at their phone, or that their phone didn't die, or that they don't have a charger, or that their computer's charged. Right. I don't know. Right. I don't know what you do all day. I don't know what you're going through. So why should I make assumptions when I could just confirm it and we both know, and then our time is precious.
I hear you. I just feel like it's when I have a conversation with someone and then later on that person acts like we didn't have that same conversation. That drives me insane. Because like you said, my time is valuable. So why did I have that conversation with you if it's not going to apply when it should? My time's valuable. I wasted my time on that conversation or clicking accept on that email. I could have been clicking accept on something else, but I clicked accept on that email. I said, I will meet you there. And then you have the nerve to interrupt my day to ask me if I'm going to be where I said I was going to be. I said I was going to be there. But then I got to suffer. This is me again. This is me again being the special person who has to suffer for all normal people. My bad.
Gosh. That's really... I don't know.
It's a good take.
No.
It's a good take on it.
No.
I bet you if we took a poll, so many people would agree with that.
Okay, we'll take a poll on the story then. We can put a poll, but I need to...
I don't
okay,
get it.
So here's the other thing. I think there's also a level of respect, and I also think it depends on the relationship too. Like, and what the subject is. What are we talking about here? We're talking about a calendar invite. You're really going to get this uptight about a calendar invite?
I'm sorry. My minutes are very valuable. Every minute is valuable. Every minute is valuable. Yes, I am. Because to me, tedious work is really frustrating.
But Lawrence, not everybody is on your level. So if we have, and we've had this before, where we've had conversations multiple times and you get super annoyed with me because I still have so many questions left. And it's almost like it's not fair, because just because I don't process at the same level or the same speed that you do, that I'm punished for it because because you're too far ahead of me. Wow. And I'm trying to catch up, or I'm trying to make sense of it. So now you're just like, you shut it down. Like, yeah, no, sorry.
You know what's really crazy about that? The timing of that statement you just made is ridiculous, because I just spoke to my one of my twins about the way he speaks to his younger brother. And I'm like, you have to understand, you guys have different languages. You speak different languages. You express yourself different. You express yourselves differently. So the fact that you and your twin have an established language and dynamics, you can't expect Liam to be caught up when he started late, and you punish him all the time for it because you're impatient. And it's tough to explain that to an 11-year-old, and now you're explaining it to a 37-year-old, soon to be 38. And I think I just want people to, I don't want to say be more efficient. I just want us to work better as people. And I think when you establish foundations as people, you can build on top of those foundations. And I feel like when we listen, check this out. When you double check, you're basically saying to me, you're basically saying that foundation I thought we had is not there, because when I clicked accept, or when I said I would be there, I thought you would trust that I was there. Now, if you can trust that I'm going to be there, you can trust me to do other things. I can trust you to do, we can build on top of that. But if we're still checking for that, then we're going to be checking we'll never get past that level. I don't think we'll ever get past that level.
That's not true.
Are we past that level? No. And we've been meeting each other to do business for 2 years now. And you still check on me to see if I'm going to be there. Think about that.
Yeah, okay. No.
You didn't like that one.
No, because I'm not even going to go there with you right now. However, I'm going to stick to the overarching thing instead of diving into the details, which we will do offline because clearly
this is going to get personal.
Clearly we have things to just.
Here we go. Mad curse words.
Yeah, so we got to keep it clean on the air, but not so much off the air. And I got plenty to say now.
Here we go.
Yeah. So you started this. So, but let me say this.
Okay.
For some reason, you have this thing with trust, and then you're like, so if I said I was going to do it, you automatically erase everything about me as a person, all of my past traumas, all of my experiences in life, everything. You just make an assumption that because you say I'm going to be there, I need to just trust that you're going to be there. Well, what if every time I was growing up, someone in my life told me they would be there, and every time I showed up, they weren't there? It's built into me. Is it wrong? Sure, because you're not that person.
Are we ready for that as a society to accept everybody's past in the present? Are we there? No, I'm serious. Are we there? Do you think we can do that?
I don't know that we'll ever be there because people are so selfish and self-centered. And I think...
And life is moving so fast, so we don't have time.
Right. And I also think we don't really listen to each other.
We don't.
I don't think we really are listening to what each other are saying and really absorbing it and processing it and being respectful of it. Because here's the thing about communication with me, Lawrence, that I go back to. It also depends on who the person is and how much you care about them and how much they impact your life. So how much are you willing to sacrifice or bend or be flexible in your styles of communication? Because people have hangups. So if I don't think that you're going to be somewhere and I ask you, clearly that's an insecurity or something of mine. So maybe that's something we address instead of just going, oh my God, you're doing this again?
Okay. What if that's one of my hangups though?
Okay, right. So then that's a conversation, isn't it?
So now we have to communicate. Yeah.
So now we have to talk it through. And then not only do we have to communicate, we have to be honest, we have to be open, we have to set our egos aside, we have to check ourselves at the door, and we have to actively listen to what we're talking about, right? But then the key is not just that conversation, it's where we build from there.
But how do we? But I don't know that we build. That's the thing. I don't know that. I just feel like people don't let go enough to get into a space where communication can happen without so much effort, where people can. It's not even nonverbal communication. It's more like I already can see the world from your perspective. I understand what's expected. I will move accordingly.
Yes. However, that's you. And you're a lot of times you're farther ahead, and you don't stop.
That's not simple mathematics to see things from some. How do you even use the golden rule? Treat people as you want to be treated. How do you do any of that if you don't know how people see things?
No, of course you do to a certain extent. I'm talking about when you dive into something a little bit deeper and you're talking about someone's hangups. You're not necessarily having those conversations with just some random person on the street, but you are maybe having those conversations with a coworker. And you know what? That's kind of an interesting situation because you work together. So you have to be somewhat invested in it, but do you care that much? I don't know. It depends.
Like you said, it depends on the person.
Right. So how much are you willing to invest and to open your mind and your heart to be flexible enough to not only hear what they're saying, but then to work on it? Because communication is the beginning, right? It's the beginning of the foundation. And I think you and I disagree on this a bit. You have to check in sometimes, and you have to make sure that what you established hasn't changed because life, like you just said, it's changing so quickly.
That's where you and I disagree. Like if I have, let's say and that's where people's hangups come, right? Because I've done this as well, where if someone says, you feel a type of way about me, and then something happens, but then see. Something could happen between the two of us, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I wonder if that changed her feelings. But what you're talking about is the other person has no idea anything even happened, and now all of a sudden you're like, this might have happened. You conjured up something with no provocation. You're just saying, oh, anything could happen, so I want to double check. I feel like you're conjuring up issues. You're speaking on stuff that hasn't happened.
Nope.
Oh, I won that, so let's move on.
No, you did not win that, and no, that's not true. No, that's not true. The only time that I would do that is if something triggered me to think that something changed.
But that's the thing. For anyone, that could be any number of things.
Right.
And we have to have established truths, foundation. And if we don't have that foundation or we don't act on that foundation, we never get there. And so at the drop of a hat, depending on how you're feeling or depending on how the wind is blowing, not even trying to be facetious, just saying things change people's moods and perspectives. So now those feelings or those established understandings we had are in question. Like, then how strong and solid were they? That's my issue. When do we get to establish a foundation? And I feel like we don't establish foundations anymore. Everything is always subject to change at the drop of a hat. And we're talking about feelings and we're talking about like relationship statuses. People act as though things should be able to change at the drop of a hat simply because our web pages can. And I don't believe in that. I believe if we establish certain things, we build on that.
Yes. In all fairness, I think we've established certain things. Did I make a big deal?
I wasn't even speaking about.
No, I know, but I'm taking it back to that. But I'm saying, like, did I make a big deal? No, I sent you like an emoji with a middle finger and just said, I'll see you later. Yep. Whatever. I let it go because I knew, I just knew, and it was fine. And we're past that now. So I wanted to double check. You were annoyed that I double checked. You showed up. I had no idea if you were there or not. Whatever. It is what it is. So it's. You do develop eventually some type of.
When is eventually? All right, because I'm Dame right now, looking at my watch. When is eventually?
It depends on the person and the communication styles and what you're talking about.
I'm just gonna communicate with myself from now on. Like, this is crazy. I'm gonna lock myself in a closet.
Okay, because that'll be helpful.
What you doing today? Same thing you doing, bro. Sorry. We wanted to.
So are you officially resigning from the podcast?
No, I'm going to do my podcast from the closet. Me, myself, and I will be speaking, and you can chime in. It's going to be three of us, though.
So you kicked me. Wait, time out.
You can't come in the closet with us.
You just took our podcast, kicked me out, and now you're having conversations with yourself.
Beyond the Journal with Erin, Lawrence, and Lawrence.
No, you just kicked me out.
You're welcome. Come on through. Remotely.
Oh my God.
No, so we wanted to talk.
Do you see people? What? Do you see?
You think I'm the difficult one?
Yes. Oh wow, I can't. We have to.
So this is only part, like, we're only scratching the surface in terms of discussing communication between people. We really want to get into communication with in terms of relationships, bosses, employees, relatives.
And I want to make this clear. What if this whole showing up issue that you and I have, the timing issue, what if we were teammates? What if we were LeBron and AD? Okay. And we are teammates, and we have to find a way to make this work together. So we have to build our foundation.
That's what you did with that? I thought you were going to do something totally different. So now we just have to work together. Yeah, I'm going to work together like LeBron would. Get your stuff together, AD.
So you're the boss. Again, it comes back to
you know what's interesting?
The boss.
I feel like, and this is something I've also been noticing, I feel like First to Strike gets to be the boss because and I'm not saying you're a victim, but you get to be the victim because you're first to strike, and you get to be the boss and dictate. For example, what if I have past traumas that make me feel this way? So because you strike first, you get to say that. Now, what if I say, I'm not going to give you that time. I'm not going to don't call me about a double check. I've got past traumas where people don't. So now if I say that first, do I get to play victim? And do I get to dictate now? No, right? You still get to play victim.
I'm not playing victim.
No, not you. I'm speaking in general.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying the other person who needs to double check gets to play victim. And that person is the leader in the situation. Now, what about a person like me who feels like, no, we don't need to do that. And now, do I get to be the leader? No, I don't. Now I'm AD.
I know, but I see my whole communication has evolved so much that I don't even I don't even want to go there. I don't want to play victim. I want to be open-minded to hearing your side of the story and then seeing what my role is in that whole scenario and how I can make it better for you and for me. Which has been
not only evident, it's been very productive. Some of the times when you field what I'm saying, I so expect you to either be hurt by it or ready to like go at it about it. And the way you receive some of the things I have to say, especially in the form of me being critical, is like, I didn't see it that way. And I think that's my biggest that's the one thing about communication that I love so much, especially as a history teacher, because I didn't see it that way through this one story. Thanks for this other story. I think that's where we need to get in terms of communication. But once we get there, leave me alone a little bit. Leave me alone. Or I'm going into the closet.
Heard you.
With the microphone.
Heard
so
you.
we do.
I'm out.
We do want to talk. We want to talk not only together, but we want to keep the conversation going online. Shout out to the comments were crazy. Some people said you can't ever show up to my place unannounced.
Or FaceTime.
Or FaceTime
People don't
unannounced.
love FaceTime.
The communication rules are so different, and I want to get some more communication rules around just dating. I want to get some communication rules around work and marriage even. Let's check it all out and see where we are communication-wise.
And that's the thing, too. I look at it, I've been on a communication journey, I would like to say, for the last few years. And I like to approach it now from almost like a challenging perspective. I challenge myself, but it's also an opportunity to learn and grow because I'm opening my mind to a different perspective. And your perspective is literally 180 from mine. So when you criticize me or something, and I actually, it took me a while to not be defensive or to not explode or to not hurt or whatever.
Ditto.
So I would have to step back and be like, oh, well, damn, I didn't really think about it like that. So now that I can check my ego and I can hear that, it helps me grow as a communicator.
So being open to the communication I think communication enables us to be open to other people's perspectives. It's the vehicle of being open to other people's perspectives, right?
Yes. However, I want to make a quick little side note. I don't have to be open to everybody. Tell
me more about that.
I don't think I'm also big into energy and stuff, and I read energy, and if I feel like we're not vibing, then I don't need to waste my energy or my time going there. And I have learned that's okay. There are certain situations where I can just walk away from, and I don't need to feel any remorse or guilt and no ill will either. I'm just like, yeah, this isn't my thing. It's not going to work for me. Okay. So I make those active choices too. So I think there are times where you can shut it down, and there are times where you don't need to communicate or you don't need to over communicate. So I can see your points sometimes. I think it's certain issues or certain topics that it becomes a little more challenging.
Okay. I respect it. We're not done.
No, we're not done.
We're running low on time, but we're not done with this communication discussion. Before we get out of here, can we go to whose kid is this? Mm-hmm. We have two. I'm not going to mention. Well, we technically could have three. It says Trump for a million things.
So that just
including misremembering our World War history. So many other things. Post office.
So many other things.
Post office, yada yada. But the referee that threw Porzingis out of the game?
Come on.
What? I've pushed you harder than that.
Whoa.
It's a joke. Really? It's a joke. Just go with it. It was a joke. Now you got people thinking you've been abused. That was weird.
I think they kind of get that.
Oh, okay.
From this
Porzingis
conversation.
gets thrown out of the game.
Yeah, that was just trash. That was trash. That was ridiculous. It's the playoffs. Nothing even happened. It would be different if it was like some brawl. There was nothing happening. It didn't make sense. It was trash. I hated it. It was soft. It was nonsense. Yeah. And they even said, the announcers were saying, if this was the 90s, this wouldn't even be a conversation right now. What are we even doing? Yeah. Why are we even reviewing? This is crazy. Let him play. And he was having a good game too. And that's just not even right. One of their star players. It's just... The whole thing was garbage.
I've had bigger skirmishes over the last piece of chicken at dinner. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
I know.
You don't know. My aunts are tough. these are skirmishes, right? Nobody's throwing us out. We should go. We should go. I've gotten a bit ridiculous. Also,
I'm so glad it's like coming to light. Like I'm so glad some of these things came out today.
Anyway, whose kid is this? Goes to Rush Limbaugh. Okay. A very conservative radio host who's been on for centuries. I feel. Representing.
It feels like that, right? Yeah. He feels like an ancient dinosaur.
He does. I've known his name since I was a young boy.
Kid, yeah, for sure.
And he's. He's not known for keeping his cards close. He's pretty not open-minded, but open-mouthed.
Yes.
And he had the nerve.
Facts.
You like that? He had the nerve to refer to our potential vice president as an HOE, as well as claim that she slept her way to the top. And then he had the nerve to muddy it by saying, "Well, this is what I heard." At the end, so he definitely gets the whose kid is this? Because number one, what people do behind closed doors is all the way their business until they make it our business. Number two, have some respect, bro. You don't want me talking about your mama and how you got here.
He has no respect.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he has no mama. I was like, that's...
No, he has no respect, especially when it comes to women. Women are not respected for the most part in this arena.
In a lot of circles. A lot of circles in the political arena.
And this is definitely one way. And it's always the same thing. It's she's nasty, she is angry, or she's a slut.
Yeah, and that's...
And this is how we handle women. So it's not shocking to me.
And a lot of those terms are loaded. Are loaded from a masculine approach to just life in general. And one
again, it goes back to communication.
I don't know how you brought that one in there.
It has a lot to do with communication.
How?
Yeah, because men and women communicate differently. And you have to, and yes,
that's where you went with that?
Different places. Yes, come on now. What do you mean that's where you went? Where did you think I was going?
What does that have to do with him calling her a hoe? I didn't call her a hoe.
No.
An HOE, excuse me.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, also, there's so many, there's so much wrong with that in general.
Yeah,
just the way.
But I don't understand how men got lumped in there.
No, I'm not saying that overall in general because she was called a,
HOE.
Yeah.
Isn't it the same thing if I spell it? I feel like everybody can spell.
Oh my gosh. Really? I don't know. Anyway, we can talk about that more, but come on, there's a whole book, like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. There's a whole different communication style. Women tend to be a lot more emotional.
I agree.
Men tend to be much more fact-based. And when they don't understand the emotion, they start finger-pointing and name-calling.
And being aggressive.
Because women can be emotional leaders. And that is okay. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's not okay. But if you don't understand it and you just start finger-pointing and not trying to have an open mind and communicate.
Here we go. No, you're not going to string that all together. I'm not getting in there with Rush Limbaugh. Really?
No,
you're not going to string that in there.
No, I'm not. No. He's not open-minded at all.
No.
He's not. That's my whole point, Lawrence, is he's not open-minded. He's not willing to communicate. Do you think he would actually sit down and have an open-minded conversation with her to find out what her past traumas are, her histories are, what it feels like to be a woman, a black woman in politics?
You'd have to strap him down and
right. So
and feed him coffee.
So I'm not lumping you two together at all.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying
we can carry on. I get it. It's
you don't. You just don't.
It's the perspective. It's the way we connect with our environments. And that's why I don't want to say communication style, even though connecting to your environment is a communication style. I'm just saying we interact with our environments differently. So it's not just communication, it's how we see and interact with our environments.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, just back off. So
oh my,
because that was nasty.
Did you just call me a nasty?
You're a nasty woman right now.
Oh,
on air. Yeah. Is it me and Rush now? Well, you can't go silent now. That works when we're off the air. All right. So Erin wants me to ask you to ask us some questions. We love the questions we get in our DMs and in our inboxes elsewhere. And we would love to just bring some of those questions to the forefront. So here's how we want to do this. Send us a video asking us a question. Send us a voice note asking us a question. Send us a message in the DM, a text, a message saying we want to ask this question for the people. We not only want to answer it on the air, we want to bring it to the public.
If we still have a show.
If we still have a show, because,
Because I'm so nasty, I don't know if I can be on the air anymore.
You don't communicate well, so I don't know if we're going to make it here. This is it for our show, unfortunately. I really think this show should go for 2 to 10 hours.
We would lose all listeners.
We would definitely do that.
We would go to places, it would just it would get ridiculous.
This would get ridiculous and ugly, and they'd be like, what are they even talking about anymore? Much like I feel right now.
We would be fighting, and we wouldn't even know why we're fighting, and no one would be following what's happening, including ourselves, and we would just be fighting for the fun of fighting.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, just because we need to win.
I don't need to win.
Yes, you always need to win.
I feel like it happens.
And you always need to have the last word.
I don't. You just. All right, so we're out of here. This has been.
What's our quote?
I'm not done yet. This has been some kind of show. We hope you'll join us for the next piece where we actually go into we go a lot deeper into communication and how it affects the different relationships and how communication styles clash. And we're going to spend a lot more show just talking about that. So see us online, find us online, drop your questions, drop your comments. Erin, do you want to say something before I read the quote?
No.
She doesn't. Okay, so the quote before we get out of here.
I'm done communicating with you. I've reached my quota for the day. Thank you very much.
So many ironies in one line. Even if I can read your mind, there are times where it is much more therapeutic for both of us and our relationship for you to tell me what is going on inside you. As much as I love to read, I love to be told a good story, especially when you're the author and the teller. I think that's a good note to end on. I think for our strongest relationships, we have to encourage the communication. Even if I'm being a stickler about a foundation versus a communication, I am nonetheless a proponent of communicating whether you're different or the same. Okay? Erin, you want to take us away? No, you don't. Beyond the Journal! This has been another episode. And America, from me to you. I don't know about Erin, but you're welcome. Do you feel like they're welcome? Catch us.
They're welcome.
Okay, good.
Not you.
Catch us next time if there's a show. Beyond the Journal with Erin and Lawrence. And Lawrence and Lawrence. I had to.
Really?
I don't need the last word. You can have it. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do there? Do you
Word.
take the I don't like that. I didn't like that. Did you see her reaction? Well played. There it is.
That's why I love her.
Look, she did that.
That's why I love her. That's why I love Brianna.
Well played.
And that's why it feels good to be here at Gotham.